And we are live. This is hoping none of the off-camera stuff just went on camera.
Hey man, what our boys in New England do with the tapes
Burn them.
when they was recording practice?
Burn them.
Yeah, they got that stuff
Can't
taken
see
care
all that
of.
stuff. Yeah. Hey, I really wish I could get my hands on them tapes because they have to be so terrible that the NFL said we are not letting these get out no matter what.
Yeah,
Like that's like government espionage or something. Like nope, nope.
man, the Patriot way. All right,
Yes.
but yeah, man, we're back to Sports Brothers, man. You ready to go ahead and jump into hour number two, Zach?
Yes, I am. This has been more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
The
man.
great job by the producers.
Yeah, make sure to thank the producers and throw a couple extra dollars their way.
Well, let's not get overboard. We ain't got. I don't have that many dollars to throw. You, on the other hand, you might have James Hard type money. I'm still poor guy.
Uh-huh. So they say. All right, Sports Brothers coming up.
That is awesome. And it already got some questions about our new sponsor.
About the new sponsor. All
Yes.
right. Okay. Well, before that, Zach, let's make sure everybody do the following.
My guess is with the new sponsorship, we may get a few more likes, if not subscriptions.
I'm gonna tell you. Follow our new sponsor. All right. Well, yeah, Zach, and we also on what now, Zach?
And it's gonna be hard to say it, but Blackjack TV. I'll have to figure out a good way to do it. But the Jack,
Yeah. All right. And we're back, and we thank
we are.
the Jack for the Sports Brothers. All right. Just go to blackjacktv.net. You can scroll down about halfway. You'll find the TV guide on there, and you can scroll on that guide, and you'll find all of our shows there as well on Blackjack TV, the Jack. All right, it's
Yes.
time to jump back into Kevin Durant. But before we do that, Zach, any questions? I know you hinted out to one. You had a question there.
Oh, what was it we were just saying? I'm getting old.
Re-
That
reference to the
eh,
sponsor, or is that
reference
for
to
a
the
later day?
sponsor. Oh, sponsor.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to remind me, man. I thought we were just shooting the breeze. Ah, oh no.
Don't ask me if there's anything you can wear, Zach, on this site.
That would be correct. Very correct.
Yeah.
But we'll say, I am sure Party Planner, I'm sorry, Panty Platter does not discriminate, and they are happy to provide their wares to anyone that would want to purchase them for whatever reason.
Yep. Absolutely. It's the lingerie for all your intimate occasions. All right.
Yes.
All right. We got one brief news note here before we get back into Kevin Durant. And this is an interesting one. And you know that this one sparks my interest, Zach. And I had to
Okay.
record a record button set for this one. And that's Richard Jefferson. He's going to officiate the second
Seriously?
quarter of tonight's New York and Portland Summer League game. You talking about entertaining? I can't wait. I can't wait to go back to my DVR, if you will, and watch this. But yeah, Richard Jefferson said he's going to step out there and officiate, and I think this is pretty cool for summer league. It's a good spot for it, and they're only doing it for a quarter, and I think that is reasonable as well because there's a lot of officials, just like players, that are trying to make a roster, whether it's an NBA roster, a G League roster, overseas roster. You know, they're there's players that are out there trying to make it, but officials are too. There's a lot of officials that are working these games, and they're on display as well, and they're trying to get a slot in the G League, and some that are already in the G League, they're trying to get a slot in the NBA, and it's not that many slots out there. I think it's roughly 60 to 70 slots out there, Zax, in the world. So to make it there, so it's the more to the summer league than just for the players. It does help the officials as well. And then, we can dip into coaching too. There's a lot of opportunity for coaches, assistant coaches to, act as head coaches during this time of year as well.
I am I am glad you said that because I got to be honest. I'm a little it it probably bothers me a little bit for exactly what you said because for Richard Jefferson, he gets to do this and go have fun. But as you said, it's referees out there they trying to get into the league.
Yes, sir.
So, but you being a ref and you saying that, okay, I will defer to you. If you ain't all up in arms about it, then I won't be.
Well, it's for a quarter, the second quarter. So that's like my consolation to that. So,
Okay.
um, but it's also going to bring light to officiating, and it's not an easy thing. And out of all the sports officials, if you poll officials, I pretty much can, like on Blackjack TV, I can throw down a bet to let you know that basketball is extremely tough to officiate. You have a lot of moving parts going on constantly, a lot of bodies in a confined space, and you have to make decisions rather quickly. You got to make instant decisions constantly in a basketball game. So it's pretty tough. And I'll just be curious to see how Richard Jefferson looks out there, uh, having to make those decisions, in an instance. And I think they're probably going to help him out a little bit. They'll probably have somebody monitoring what he does, and the other officials will probably make up for areas that he may miss because he's definitely not trained to to monitor the areas that he needs to, as we say, your PCA, your primary coverage areas, and things like that. So it's a lot involved with officiating, more so than just making the obvious calls like travels and stuff like that. It's a lot of calls that are not made, which that are actually more important than the calls that are made in games. And I think that applies to other sports as well, but basketball especially.
And and I will just add, Mister 401. I will say in my league that and the leagues I played in over the years that I have gotten much better in dealing with the referees because of our conversations. That I try to be more understanding about things, even when they miss calls, and I have good conversations with them instead of trying to yell or whatever. And quite often they will tell me. A few weeks back, uh, I thought I was in position for a charge. Ref called a block, and then
Mm-hmm.
we went over talk after the game or whatever. And he said, uh, he said it looked like a block to me, but if I missed it, my apologies or whatever. But we just kind of talked about it. He said, "Hey, I'm not beyond missing the call," and I can take that. Like he was being real with me, and even on the another guy when I was like, "Hey, man, you can't be calling foul when this guy like he's a bigger guy and we're jostling." Where he said, "No," he said, "Look, he was over there whining about it, your play with him or whatever, but y'all were going at it, and I was gonna let y'all go at it, and that's what I did." So,
I
well,
bet you did.
well, you well, hey, we'll just say you have helped me like, and the referees like me a lot better, and it works. I try to
Yeah,
relay that to some of my teammates that are younger, and they get overly emotional
right.
about things.
The Once upon a time, I was a basketball player, and I
Yes,
yelled
you
at the
were.
officials too. You know what I mean? I yelled at officials, and I thought, you know, that they had something out against me, and but as I got into officiating and started doing it myself, I started to understand what they really were doing out there, and even if it's the calls that are missed, I have an understanding of why they missed it for the most part. You know what I'm saying? We could talk for hours about that, but there are reasons why calls are missed, and It's just like players, right? You got different levels of officials. You have different levels of players. We're talking about one now that we got 100 trade scenarios about, and then there's going to be players that are no trade scenarios about, and so
Yes.
you just have to understand the landscape, and just try to, as we talked about it, the dialogue that's the key. Having the right dialogue, asking the right questions, and then you'll find out what type of official you have in that with having that dialogue, and so we'll see what Richard Jefferson does in the second quarter.
Well, I'm gonna watch tonight now. Like you got me. Like if I got to go find a replay or whatever, I will be interested to see. And hopefully they have him mic'd up or they're following him or whatever. I mean, honestly, yeah, it may feel a little embarrassing for him, but to give him a accurate appreciation of, as you were saying, how difficult it is to be a referee.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I
and a
can tell
lot
you
of that
now,
can be
I wouldn't
said.
want to do it.
I tell you, man,
Like,
if I wasn't doing it for as long as I've been doing it, I wouldn't want to do it. Like
and
it's not, it's tough.
I'd be a bad ref because I'll take a guy and I know we gave it be on. Like, oh, okay, tech. We already got that one out the way. We ready for the second? Because we're gonna be like umpire and go on and ring you up and get you home.
Look, I'll pay money to see you and Draymond Green. Then that would be. I'll pay for that
Like
pay per view.
I wouldn't be a ref long. So I understand that you have to probably ref these situations as much as you do the game, but I'd run players and as I say like an
Okay.
umpire.
All
But
right.
that's
Well,
probably enough. They probably don't want to hear me going about something I don't know about.
hey, something you do know about Zach is Heavenly Spa Mobile, 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101-A, Macon, Georgia 31204. Latanya can be reached at 478-747-9231. That's 478-747-9231. Heavenly Spa Mobile, the
Yes.
sponsor of our next segment, where
And she will do a
relaxation.
great job for everybody except Deshaun Watson.
Where relaxation is the key. Relaxation is the key. Heavenly Spa Mobile. Deshaun, take it
Hi,
out.
I'm Latanya. I'm the owner of Heavily Spa Mobile. I've been in this business 19 years plus. If you're in dire need of a massage for achy muscles, back, neck, shoulder, hip, legs, feet, come on down and schedule an appointment with me. You can't go wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking care of you because no one's going to be able to take care of you. I'm located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, and that's in Building 8, and that's in Macon, Georgia. Again, you can go online to Heavenly Spa Mobile to schedule your future appointment, or you can reach out to me at 478-747-9231. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes. Well, hopefully, if we ever get the 411 building, we would definitely try to get her on payroll to be able to be our masseuse or the staff's masseuse,
Yeah.
I should say.
And Deshaun Watson, you are invited.
No, no, I don't think Bobby would appreciate
Shout out to Bobby. All right. Next landing spot for Kevin Durant, Zach. Man, there's a possibility. It's even though it's not a strong possibility, but it's one of the locations that will be curious to me, and that's New York, and not Brooklyn, but New York
that.
City. This is a place that was rumored to be a landing spot for Kyrie and Kevin Durant in the first place. And the Knicks are one of the teams that have access to a lot of draft picks. And they do have some solid players too that possibly can end up there. So just want to throw it out there. I mean, it's interesting to bring up the Knicks as far as landing a superstar like Kevin Durant. Here's a couple of things about the Knicks. All right, if
Okay.
you get Kevin Durant, here's a possibility here. As you can see, there's a lot of picks down across the bottom and a couple solid players. I mean, R.J. Barrett, Fournier, Obi Toppin, and quickly. And then there you go. Dallas with a pick. Dallas is picked. The Knicks got a couple picks of their own, and then there's a swap in there. So this will satisfy the Nets as far as picks go. May not get a player near the level of Kevin Durant, but you do get some young talent in there. So what do you think about this? And then don't forget they do have Brunson over there.
Well, to go back what you were saying in the beginning, anything we say is gonna kind of sort of seem silly, but in not necessarily, because in theory, every team in the league, if they want Kevin Durant, is at least in the picture if you do what you need to do to get some assets together. So they may all seem silly, but we probably wouldn't a couple weeks ago when they were talking about Rudy Gobert and what Utah needs to do and things of that nature. I don't think anybody would say you're getting 5 first-round picks for Gobert, right?
Right. That's true. Yeah.
And I think I told you that I thought I still think the Towns contract is horrible because I think I don't believe he's the type of guy that can be your best player and you win a championship. But when you bring in Rudy Gobert, going back to what you say about roles, he's quote unquote your tough guy, or at least the guy that will do your dirty work. So you don't have to worry about that with Towns. And what do? They move Towns from the 5 down to the 4. He's going to have to defend a little bit more. But I believe you said it correctly. They identified a need and they paid for what they paid what they had to pay to get him. And this will go back to the Knicks. If the Knicks want to get in the Kevin Durant business, not only can they get into Kevin Durant business, they probably can get into Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving business if those two individuals want to stay together. Like they could figure out a way to come up with a package that at least is on the table, because a lot of these packages, as we've seen, they're not very enticing right now for the Nets. So you can at least put yours in, because if nobody's going to put a superstar player, or if no one's going to put a superstar, if nobody's going to put an all-star, that package right there, while it ain't maybe the greatest, RJ Barrett has that quote-unquote word that individuals love to say, potential. And that's what you sell on a lot of this stuff. And we may hit on this or not, but think about Zion Williamson. Now, Zion Williamson has put up some numbers and everything, but a lot about Zion Williamson is really just his potential, because he hasn't necessarily done it on the court, and he just got a humongous extension based on potential. Because if you went off his production, it wouldn't be there. So I think it's not crazy that New York would put a package together. They want to get in the business of Kevin Durant.
Yeah. I like the Kevin and Kyrie. That brings it back full circle. And then there's a team that's been down for a minute. And, without Kyrie, this is a potential lineup right here.
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin Durant, Brunson, Robinson, who's a solid, forward/center, that the typical forward center, in this era, shot blocker, runs the floor. You still get Randall. So you have at least 2 legitimate scorers out there, and you got a Brunson who's proven to play well with Luka, so he definitely would be able to do well with Durant. So that would be the lineup. I mean, New York would be definitely exciting, more exciting than what they are now. And so you got to take a shot.
And then as it, Kevin Durant, if we want to go like if they were planets and we're talking about gravitational pull, when Kevin Durant is on the court, he's gonna pull more people towards him. Maybe that's a couple extra offensive rebounds for Mitchell Robinson, or lefty from out of
Randall.
Kentucky. Yes, Randall. And then Brunson. You get maybe a few more extra shots than you want. Like, it might not be an ideal situation for Durant, but you're on it would, if he was going to give it a chance, it at least give them potential in the future to add pieces.
Yeah, definitely. And again, with Randall and Brunson, they're pretty much slashers.
Yeah.
So with a shooter like Durant, that definitely opens the floor for them. And Randall was an all-star, just last season. And so, man, when you get Durant with you, the numbers could go up because you're not the number one option, and you should have
Yeah.
a lot better looks out there. So yeah, if I'm New York, I'm going for that, and we're gonna see what happens.
And
But Zach,
I
oh, go ahead.
oh no, well I would say I feel like I keep hammering this home and I shouldn't have to. So I apologize if I'm insulting any of our uh fans and people watching, but uh it is a different responsibility being a number one. Like there's a reason why outside of Kobe Bryant just being Kobe Bryant that you give Kobe Bryant money and that you defer to him a lot because Kobe Bryant and or if you want to go any of these guys, Shaquille O'Neal, like when they're in their primes and when they're at their best, or even when they are, I get tired of hearing about LeBron. I know a lot of other people get tired of hearing about LeBron, but when you have these type of guys in your organization, they do make things easier on other individuals that, I mean, even if they are stars, it can reshape how you do things, which would explain why the Nets bent over backwards to do what they did for Kyrie and Durant.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, Zach. Well stated. All right. Well,
Thank
another team that wouldn't mind getting Durant, according to what we're hearing out there in the streets. And man, what a we already know how this worked before, but the Golden State Warriors, and now Zach, Golden State may have the combination. They're able to either stick with what they have now, and they'll be set up for the long haul, on paper, um, or they can possibly get Durant back in the mix and maybe run off a couple more championships. And I think either way may work for them. And if you're the Nets, there's a lot of potential talent coming back your way. So I don't know if you took a deep dive into Golden State yet, but we can discuss it. Here's some of the players right here. Kevin Durant goes to the Warriors, and then you have Poole. So the Poole party would move east. Wiseman and Wiggins and Kuminga, who really is showing out in summer league. But that's now you're talking about a young core, and all these guys pretty much play together. Wiseman hasn't been on the court lately, but you figure he's familiar with their system and these guys. So what do you think about that? What do you think about a Golden State Brooklyn Nets trade?
Well, there are a lot of layers to this. I think, but before we get into the trade part, what we have to do is we have to look at the parties involved, i.e., Kevin Durant left Golden State. So he left for a reason. And you know how things go. When people leave, when relationships end, I can say it's because I've had a lot of relationships end. Sometimes there's bad feelings one way or the other. So what type of bad feelings are there? And I guess this would mainly focus on Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. Though Draymond Green, it seems, has been trying to massage the situation or whatever. But if you're telling me that things are irreconcilable, and unfortunately I know that term because I've had 2 divorces between the Nets and Durant, then to me this is a trade. Like this is the best package, and I'm gonna even go with if you're Golden State, like I'm not of the belief that you overvalue, say, a Jonathan Kuminga, and I really like Wiseman, or even the Jordan Poole of these guys are so good. As I just said about Zion, potential. Oh, he's going to be because as many guys that maybe do pan out like that, we've had lots of individuals. Jerry Stackhouse was the next Jordan, and Harold Miner. Oh, he was baby Jordan. Like all of these guys were going to be whatever, and it didn't happen. So give me a known commodity. And if you're Golden State, I'm not letting Kevin Durant go to the Suns. And if the Lakers do get Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving is this magic elixir, like they're saying, I'm not letting the Lakers move up or get ahead of me in the poll. If this is NASCAR, if you want to go Indy, just because they add that, I'll get him and we'll see what happens. And if I'm Golden State too, I have an opportunity now. And this would affect Curry more than maybe it'll help the organization. If Curry can mess around and get 6 or 7 championships, I wouldn't necessarily feel it, but everybody likes to do ring counting. If he could mess around and get 6 or 7 championships, you're probably going to have people walking around saying if he's definitely would be top 5, if not top 3. And maybe even some people now putting him in the GOAT conversation, since we like to talk rings. It would be, I would rather give up Klay Thompson than Wiggins. But I hear Klay and Curry are joined at the hip, and that probably wouldn't play well. That you get rid of Klay to bring Durant back. But that would be the one change that I would want to make to that. Other than that, for the Nets, that's probably the best package you're going to get out of everything I've seen. If you're getting picks and you get potential. Yeah. And for Golden State, I don't know if it'll work health-wise because all those guys would be old and really on the wrong side of 30. But it would give you a chance to get to 6-7 rings.
Right. It definitely would. And then, if management is as clever and smart as they've been over the last whatever number of years now, 6-7 years or so, like they can make the right moves to kind of fill in the holes there. Won't be too many holes to fill, but they can go out and get a plug and player here and there, and there's going to be some players that want to get a ring. There's going to be some gentlemen that's going to want to play for cheap. So you'll be able to get the key backups that you need. A couple of players to fill in, like hey, Dwight Howard. How good would Dwight Howard look now in Golden State? With that type of roster. So there's guys like that come to mind. So you're absolutely right, Zach. I believe this is the best move out of all the moves that we discussed so far, and probably out of all the moves that we will discuss as we close out the show here with a couple more cities. But man, Golden State, man, that would be amazing. And it would definitely be a lot. It would change the overall basketball, landscape when you talk about ranking players and all that kind of thing, and also ranking organizations, because if they run off some more championships, you have to really look at them now and say, hey, where do they land? Are they above the Chicago Bulls? Do they pass the Bulls?
Correct. And now, Mr. 411, we can say this tape, it's not happening. So I want to be very clear. Out of every trade, out of every team in the league that he's going to get traded to, it's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen because Kevin Durant ain't going to admit that he made a mistake. Like, that's just kind of how we are as men. And you notice that we have a very hard time saying we was wrong. If he was to make this move, that is him saying, I effed up leaving. So this one ain't happening. I'll believe that, as I said, say the tape. If this one happens, we'll pull the tape back up. This one ain't happening. He ain't going to say he's wrong.
Well, look, it's July 11th, 2022. Yes. So we'll see. But man, look, he also can stick it to people by going back to Golden State and getting his rings and not worrying about what people say, because 100 years from now he'll have X amount of more championships. Because he's in a no-win situation right now anyway. People are already bashing him now for wanting to leave Brooklyn. And so, hey, if he's petty, right? He appears to be. And if he wants to really, really be petty, go back to Golden State and just let them continue to talk about you while you're adding to your ring count.
The only thing is that it doesn't seem like he's the type of guy that would be able to handle that every day. Because for every day for the rest of his career, he'd have to hear that every day. I don't think he can. He hasn't shown that it looks like he can handle that type stuff, which is why he left anyway, right? Because I thought he should have stayed, and you just try and win as many as you can win.
Well, we'll see what he does. We'll see if Golden State is the move. But if you're working on your moves in the ring, check out Ernest Butts Jr. and his boxing academy.
Hey, what's going on? Ernest Butts Jr., CEO and president of East Butts Jr. Boxing Promotion. Over here off of Mercer University Drive, 3555 Mercer University Drive. You want some real good personal training? Meet your goals? Come see me. I can put you to work. get those goals. Like I said, I'm located over here off of Mercer University Drive, over here in the Mercer Crossing Shopping Center. I'm open every day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. The number over here is 478-254-5442. Or, if you're serious, you can reach me at my cell, 478-319-1502. Come be a part of a real boxing gym. Everything is real in here. Real trainer, real promoter. I promote pro shows in the city. But what I do best is personal training. I can get you in the best shape of your life. Give me a holler, man. Ladies, men, come holler at me. Self-defense, anti-bullying. I also work with kids, starting from the age of 4 years old. That's right, 4. 4 to 7, and 8 to 16. Come shop with me. Have a great day. Peace.
Thank you, Mr. Butts.
Yes, we thank Ernest Butts Junior Boxing Academy. That man's doing a lot of big things in the Middle Georgia area. Check him out. All right. Hey, he's a boxer, Ernest Butts Jr. He's been around the likes of Roy Jones Jr. and Tyrone K. Jones Jr. And and look, if you want to, get your boxing game up, check out Ernest Butts Jr. And like I said, self-defense and everything. It teaches you everything is a great workout. Even Carmelo Anthony, he boxes in the off season, to help him stay in the league as long as he's been in the league. But Philadelphia is a boxing town, Zach. And so we're going to talk about Philly. And then we're going to go to another spot that's an 8-hour drive away. But we'll quickly talk about the Philadelphia 76ers and the possibility of Durant, Harden, and Embiid. And just get your thoughts on that. Do you think that's a good landing spot for Durant?
Let's see. You got to force it into Embiid's going to be your big guy. Tell me this? Who's the adult in the room with Harden? And see, you laugh when I say it, but I know this is like all of this sounds crazy, but I think you talked about this when you were going to Miami, or even with the Suns, which is probably why those are at the top of his list. I'm not saying Kevin Durant isn't an adult, but what I am saying is Kevin Durant needs someone that has a strong, I won't even say strong personality. He needs something like Kevin Durant doesn't need to be the CEO. He needs somebody that does maybe say all of the boardroom meetings and all this. Look, no different than me. Like I can go in and be the adult in the room and all this other stuff, but I would prefer not to do it. Like I was a non-commissioned officer in the Army. I did all the meat and potatoes type stuff. The officers handle your meetings and, all of that kind of fluff or whatever. Kevin Durant needs someone that does that so he can just, as he loves to say, focus on basketball. Who does that in the 76ers if he goes there?
Wow, that's a good question, Zach. Maybe it's PJ Tucker.
Yeah. Then I'll just say like now. So I would just say then we're back at another Nets type situation of you got talent, but you don't have anybody that. So I'm gonna say it talent wise, it looks great on paper, but I think we end up where we're at right now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that one. That's a formidable lineup. You have Embiid in the middle with his shot blocking, and then you have Tucker, who would be the defender on the best perimeter offensive guy for the opponent. And then of course Durant, you're not going to be able to stop him. And Harden wouldn't necessarily have to be the Harden that we remember him being in Houston. That would be a formidable lineup. But man, how would they make that work? I know they're going to try because Embiid has already talked to management about that. But I think this is one of the least likely locations. But man, if they could pull that off, that would be nice. It would be nice for Philadelphia.
I mean, you could. I mean, anytime you can get talent players, of course, why wouldn't you? If you can get Kevin Durant, if you're from Philadelphia, sure. Maxey has potential. So I guess for the Nets, it's not terrible.
Mm-hmm. It's not bad, not bad. But 8-hour drive away from Philadelphia is Toronto, and so Toronto's been in the news, uh, and they have a lot of things that the Nets would want. I'm sure if they can sit down long enough and maybe hammer some things out, Toronto, that's a possible trade. Now I'm not certain, and I want to get your take on that. How certain you think Durant? Do you think Durant would be happy with this, and would he follow through with this or not for 4 years? But Toronto, they definitely have the fan base. I know he wouldn't want to go there because of lack of support from the fans and the country, but they do have a young budding star in Scotty Barnes, and then they have some other names they could throw in there. And then, but there's a way that this can happen in Toronto. They probably will have to add another player in there. But what do you think about Toronto and Brooklyn? Because has been some real talk about this, and if they hammer some things down, they might be onto something here. But can you envision Durant in Toronto?
It, you know me, and I'm gonna go back to 8. When you got money, if you and I woke up tomorrow and all of a sudden we make $35 million a year, I can tell you now, I'm not trying to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm not trying to be in Salt Lake, Utah, or what is it, Salt Lake City, Utah. And Robin talked about Utah. And I'll go to Toronto and visit because I got a whole bunch of money, but I ain't trying to wake up and play 41 basketball games there among whatever else I got to do there. If we take that out of the equation, I think it's a good culture for him. He probably could just focus on playing basketball. For the Nets, maybe it's not the worst what's his face in the world, and it's hard to say what Durant would want. I'll put, if we were gonna go, and I don't know how many we thought of that, but possibility. It's not a high possibility, but I'll go back to that word again, irreconcilable. If it's really like that with the Nets, then yeah, this would be 10% chance, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to see it. It would be nice to see another star player, elite player in Toronto. I mean, they really do love their team. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we talk about the NBA and it's a long season and this and that, but watching them on the league pass, their fan base is for real. Like they show up for their games every night. They're in Jurassic Park outside celebrating. I mean, they celebrated when the team got eliminated. You know what I mean? Like they really appreciate basketball and they appreciate their team. And Kevin Durant, if you want to, if he wants to, like, you're talking about carrying the team, he can carry not only the team but also the country of Canada. There's only one NBA team in that country right now, and that will be him carrying a franchise. And if he wants to have that story, unfold, there's a place to do it. They definitely have a history of making good, solid moves. They know how to find international talent to make up for, like what you said. Like you wouldn't want to spend your bags in Toronto. You know what I mean?
No.
But they find a way to get quality players there and draft well. So
good organization.
Very good. And it's underrated, underappreciated organization in Toronto.
Yes.
I mean, look, they brought the coach up, Nick Nurse. They brought him up through the G League franchise, and I think even Jerry Stackhouse coached there with the G League team for a while. But they brought up Nurse and moved him into the head coach position, and they kept moving, and that's a nice spot. With all that said, though, I think it's not going to happen, but it would be nice to see. It'll be another team that fans will buy tickets for across the country. if that happened. It'd definitely be on the Atlanta Hawks package. The 10-game pack. They'll add Toronto on there and take off somebody. They'll take off Brooklyn.
Yes.
There you go. All right. So we tried Toronto. We tried. All right. We have 2 more locations, 2 more stops to make before we're out of here. But before we do that, this segment here is brought to you by www.ptwithgrit.com. Keith Morgan. If you want to look like Zach, see him over there in the chair, all buff, got the Georgia G, sticking out.
Well, thank you.
The traps and everything. You want to have you want to have some, you want to get some of that, check out ptwithgrit.com.
I thought we had The Rock on the show for a second.
Well, look, it's getting there, Zach. It's getting there. give him about 5 more years. It's getting there. But yeah, ptwithgrit.com. Check him out. Keith Morgan. Here's the video. Without the music.
And I will say you didn't bring this up, and this is actually more serious about the PT with Grit. You have done an excellent job of helping me get my nutrition in order as far as what I eat and how I go about things, and it really has helped with the weight loss and even my condition as far as playing ball. And I believe Greg helps with that also, correct? Getting you on a great nutritional plan.
Keith Morgan. Yeah. He definitely does. Greg does too. But Keith Morgan, he's the CEO of that and the brains behind all of it. But Keith Morgan will put you on a plan. And again, Zach, I'm glad you mentioned that because he also tailors the plan to you. So he'll assess you and then find out what your goals and desires are, and then he'll tailor it to where it works out for you. So that's it, man. It's all part of PT with Grit. And then he also has virtual. So if you want to work out virtually with him, there's no reason why you can't work out when it comes to Keith Morgan and ptwithgrit.com.
And trust me, everyone, and Mr. 411 got me on this. Changing your nutritional habits can make a world of difference. And whenever I start thinking about eating stuff bad, and I still do eat stuff bad, that's why I have to go work out. But I hear Mr. 401 on this side, don't do it. Have a turkey burger instead of that cow burger, or what have you. Drink that smoothie instead of this. Eat some fruit. So it can, if you're trying to make those changes, I would say get with Keith.
Absolutely. All right. We appreciate Keith Morgan. We thank you for everything. Thank you for supporting the Sportz Brothas.
Yes.
All right, Zach. We're down to 2 locations. We're down to about 12 minutes, but we're going to get it done. Let's talk about my team. Let's talk about my team. The Los Angeles Lakers. Can you see Kevin Durant, and in this case, Kevin Durant and Kyrie, can you see them ending up in LA? And as you can see here on this deal, there's Russell Westbrook, but the sweetener to this deal is Anthony Davis. Do you think that, well, first of all, how do you like this trade right here? And then second, do you think that Kevin Durant will end up in LA in some kind of way?
Does Kevin Durant want to play basketball with Kyrie Irving?
That's a good question.
That would be the question.
I think he does.
If they want to play basketball together, then if we start throwing, like, if everything we've gone through with the options, and as I said, I'm telling you he's not going to Golden State. This is a trade. Like
Mm.
it makes sense for both parties. And I still believe in what Anthony Davis can do when he's healthy. I don't know how happy he'll be being in Brooklyn after he was brought to LA, but Anthony Davis may need a change in scenery just because he may be enjoying that LA life too much. Because as I said, if I want to be rich, I want to be rich in places like LA or Houston or Miami. Nice place, Atlanta, where I can enjoy
You'll
life.
be broke.
And maybe Anthony Davis needs out. You get him as he's under contract, I think, for 4 more years, I believe. The Westbrook contract will come off the books next year. Anthony Davis and Ben Simmons ain't terrible. So I can see this.
That would be a blockbuster, and that will, we just talked about the Golden State trade, and we're thinking that that's a good one as well, and how that would affect the franchise. And this will be a way to, derail the Warriors if this went through. You have Durant, LeBron, and Kyrie on the same team, but no matter what, I guess you still have LeBron and Durant on the same team.
Well, that's what I was gonna. That's what I was gonna add too.
Oh.
Even better for the Lakers, you got Kyrie on a 1-year deal. As long as you don't extend him, you can see how this plays out.
Yeah. I think all 3 players will be on their best behavior, and that would be that's a major deal right there. Man, if that comes out of nowhere, I mean, buckle up. So we'll see how that one pan out too. I mean, we're putting a lot of stuff out there in the universe, Zach, and
no, this is, but you were talking about this. This seems like a actual real, like the Suns deal. That doesn't seem realistic to me because of Ayton. You'd have to swallow hard with Anthony Davis, but it's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a all NBA first team type player, offensively and defensively. You have to tell me who the Nets can get that's a better player than Anthony Davis if Anthony Davis is at his best.
Man,
like, and go through all of the trade scenario. This seems like a real this could be a real trade. Like the Golden State one seems real. This one seems like it could be real.
Yeah. And again, Kyrie and Durant get to play together.
Yes.
So that meets that criteria as well. And then Brooklyn gets, they get Anthony Davis. You know what I mean?
Yes. I don't even care about the West. Like the Westbrook thing is whatever, but you can buy him out. I'm looking more at his contract comes off the book, but you get Davis, and you just have to. And Davis doesn't seem like he's a bad player. He just gets injured, so he's someone that if you wanted to go back to having a culture, he's like a souped up Jared Allen.
Well, there you have it. He's super talented. And
yes.
How about this, Zach? We'll go to the other Los Angeles team, and we don't have a scenario laid out, but what if he ended up with the Los Angeles Clippers, and they was able to somehow keep these 3 gentlemen right here together?
Well, I'm gonna do an addendum to your photo, and this would be something that I would think the Clippers should really think about. Not going to happen. But that dude on the far left, if you flip him with Kevin Durant, I think that's a good move for the Clippers because that dude on the far left ain't played a lot of basketball.
I'm assuming you're talking about the one with the cornrows.
Yes. Now, that would work out terrible for the Nets because if he's proven if he don't want to play, like he doesn't get much talk because he doesn't talk much and he keeps to himself. But if he don't want to play, he don't play. But if it wasn't for the fact that he wouldn't play if the Nets did him, I would say that the Clippers should flip Kawhi for Durant. And I'm not sure you have to give up much extra besides that, but he wouldn't play. He wouldn't play in Brooklyn. So
Yeah. I think he's kind of. I think he's set to go to LA. You know, he left Toronto, right? So he
yes,
left that all that great stuff I said about Toronto. He left. Uh, so there was a reason why, and I know he's in the
yeah.
California area, from that area and everything. But still, he left a great situation there, and just came off a championship there. All right.
Now, I guess if you could get the okay from quote unquote Kawhi, Paul George, if you flipped him to the Nets, he probably still plays basketball. He'd just be unhappy. Maybe
All
that's
right.
okay for you if you're the Nets. I don't know.
Yeah, we have to see. But that was just another place to throw. And then Zach, we're gonna circle this all the way back around before we get out of here to the place where this all began, and that's Brooklyn. How about they run it back with Kyrie, they run
Yeah.
it back with KD, and I know you touched on this earlier. That's why I was trying to save this one. But run it back. I mean, they signed Patty Mills back, right? They re-signed him. They re-signed a lot of guys that they already had on the roster. So to me, it looks like they're trying to basically run it back. They added TJ Warren, and so they're making moves. And they signed back Claxton too, I believe. So
Yes.
it seems like the Nets are just like, hey, we're gonna try to run this back, but this time we get both of you to play, and we can see how this really looks. So what about Brooklyn, man? What about Brooklyn just running this whole thing back before we get out of
Is
here?
is Ben Simmons an all NBA player?
When healthy, yes.
Like like I believe he didn't play for financial reasons or whatever. He's trying to get his money back. But if Ben Simmons is an all NBA player, and you and I have talked glowingly about Ben Simmons for years. Like we thought when the 76ers did this trade that the Nets won this trade. If you're telling me Ben Simmons is going to be Ben Simmons, and I don't care if he can shoot or not, then you got an all NBA dude at the either 4 spot or the 1 spot, whatever it is you want to put him in, and a all defensive player.
Correct.
Kyrie, for whatever Kyrie lacks and what I don't like about him, he's talented. He's a role guy. If he doesn't have to be your leader and he can just go do his role, that's great for it. Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant. If you could run it back, like I say, at least up to All-Star break before you start making any harsh decisions, I don't know why Brooklyn wouldn't do this. Like I'd play chicken with all of them. I would see if they ain't gonna play, and if all 3 of them don't play, then I'm in the lottery next year for your French guy. I can't say his damn name. I would just I would do it. Like there's nothing. If I can do that for up until All-Star break, I get what's his face maybe because what the 4 worst records have the same percentage to get a thing. Okay, I just need to be. I'm either winning an NBA championship next year, maybe, or I'm if possibly getting the #1 pick. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I can see Brooklyn just running it back, and they even with Durant and Kyrie, and with the way the landscape of the league is now, it's kind of level right now.
Yeah.
Unless there's a major change somewhere, a major trade somewhere, and it would definitely need to involve Kevin Durant at this point to kind of make a major shift. You could run this back, and they could come out of the Eastern Conference. They definitely could. And so if I'm them, as we said, we went through all these teams to circle all the way back to Brooklyn, and they can do it, and there will be, and I think all will be forgiven if they can come back. Kyrie puts together a solid season. Durant does his thing. All the pieces are still there. And matter of fact, I think I mentioned it, but they did pick up TJ Warren.
Yes.
So that's a good pickup. And so
Yes.
they have the shooters, they have key wing
Joe
players.
Harris comes back.
Joe Harris comes back.
In theory.
Yeah, he comes back healthy. And that's still a good team. I mean, Vegas will tell us that. They will tell us that the odds are in the Nets' favor to come out the East if they do this. So, and then here's redemption. Here's a chance for Kyrie to show everyone that he can get it done as a number 2 on the team, show up, play, deliver, and then Durant, you can do his thing and lead as which they planned in the first place to do this. So Brooklyn, if they sit still
Ben
and
Simmons
run it
has some
back,
making up to do. Like Ben Simmons
yeah,
has to, like Ben
that's the
Simmons
ace
is
in the
working
hole.
on he's working on his next contract. And I know people don't think that, but it is a business, and he's got to do some good things for that next contract. And tell me this, Mr. 4-1, can Ben Simmons guard Giannis Antetokounmpo?
He can definitely. I mean, he matches
And
up
you
physically.
know what I mean.
Outside of
Like,
strength, yeah, he's a good
like
matchup for Giannis.
he could limit. I mean, within like because the offense players is always going to have the advantage over defensive player. That's just how it is. But can he limit him?
I mean, he has the limp to at least bother his shot. You know what I'm
And
saying?
size.
And he can run with him on the perimeter, right?
Okay.
Because Ben Simmons is a legitimate 6'10", 6 foot
Yes.
10 inches. Like it's legit. It's not fake. And Giannis is 7 foot, so it's probably about 2 inch difference. But he can move as well. So
Yes.
where Giannis has a huge advantage by his quickness, agility, Ben has that same quickness and agility. And so it would be a good matchup, a good player to have out there. And again, Ben, as we talked before, his focus is not on offense. So he can direct a lot of his energy on the defensive end and distribute. And you flip it to the offensive side of the floor, you have a Durant who's an efficient scorer. You got Kyrie who can score in multiple ways. Simmons can be that LeBron-ish type distributor at 6'10".
I like going. I like
it's a
going to
great
Draymond
fit.
Green, a souped up
Yeah.
Draymond Green. Can he guard Tatum?
Yes.
Okay, so that's two teams that the Nets you can guard their best player. Now he can't guard Embiid. Embiid is too big, but he can guard Harden.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great matchup. He made All NBA, Zach.
Yes.
I mean, he made the All-Star team. He's All NBA. When he's right. So yeah, that's the ace in the hole right there.
That's why I was going with. Now, I don't want to have much faith in them because I've been bashing the Nets or whatever, but they like it. It's not crazy that they could be in the finals next year, and it's not crazy that if they all got their heads on straight, that they could win the championship. Like I'm not going to pretend like they couldn't do it. They could do it.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see if they come back to Brooklyn.
And they would make a profit out of you because you've been beating the drum. And at times when the Nets have been right in the head, you have been right about this team.
Well, we'll definitely see. And man, Zach, before we get out of here, all right. On this day, man, there he is, Kobe Bryant. He was acquired.
Yep. Terrible job, Hornets. Poor job by your scouting department.
Yeah. Thank you, Jerry West. Thank you, Charlotte Hornets. Thank you, Vlade Divac. We appreciate all the things you did for the Lakers. It was an excellent signing with Divac, but Kobe Bryant, man.
We'll have to say
on this day.
This for another day.
Yeah.
Bad like
Bryant.
trades. Lord Jesus.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a great pickup. Probably one of the greatest pickups of all time.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll do a show about that. Yes, sir.
All right. He's a top 10 player. Who else in the top 10 got the ball dropped like he got the ball dropped?
We have to do some major research to find out what's that.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely, man. Well, appreciate you taking the time, Zach, to be here. BlackjackTV.net.
I love talking sports with you.
Yep. Same here, Zach. And we thank everybody for watching and listening. He's Zach. I'm Mr. 4-1. We are the Sportz Brothas, and we'll see you all on the other side.
Take care. Thank you.
Good night.